StormWatch number 23, written by Jim Starlin, art by Yvel Guichet. So last issue, Jenny Soul took out 3 members of the collective, and that was just kind of it. This is its own little thing called Memories. So we open up on Midnighter, Apollo, and Lobo fighting off this group of centaur aliens. And the whole time, Midnighter's basically saying, yeah, I used to be a boy named Lucas Trent, and then I got abducted by aliens, and they experimented on me. They looked like giant owls, and whatever was of Lucas Trent died at that time, and Midnighter was born. And so he's about to kill the last of the aliens when Apollo's like, whoa, hold on, we got to keep that one alive. And whatever the hell his name is. Hold on. It says it on the next page. Nope, doesn't. What the hell's the name of this green guy? I can never remember. So, Energy Dude, he steps up and he's like, now, here's the thing. We know that you as an alien race were about to steal Earth's water, and we stopped you, and so we're sending you back as a message because you guys are just like hired guns for whatever intergalactic corporation or whatever there is. You're going to send him back. You're going to tell him Earth's under our protection. You're going to have to come back. Got it? And he's like, yes, sir, totally. I'll make sure my supervisors know. And so he leaves. And then they plant some explosives, go out through a gate, and explode the water extraction device that was planted on the Earth. So they make their way back to Skywatch. And Weird goes in and talks to Energy Guy and says, as you know, Energy Guy, I am a being of energy who has just possessed the body of a dead man, and that is what my thing is. So what kind of energy are you? You seem like half energy, half matter. And he says, I'm a little bit of both. And he says, fair enough. Thank you for the information. Goodbye. And he walks off. So then we go to Storm Command, who's just sitting at a table meditating or something, and he also thinks of some memories. We get to see his face finally, but it doesn't look super familiar. Kind of looks like Midnighter's memories as well. But he gets his brain removed from his body by some robots, and then Engineer chimes in and says, Storm Control, everyone's back. You said you wanted to know. And he's like, oh, right, totally. Hey, everybody, gather around. Here's the thing. I wanted to save this until we had a successful mission. You all need to know the truth. The collective deleted the old timeline. And it's like, what do you mean deleted the old timeline? There was a whole nother Stormwatch, and they're gone. And we're the new guys. And everyone's just kind of like having an existential crisis a little bit. And they were like, wait, were there an Apollo and a Midnighter in that team as well? Were they lovers? And Jenny's like, was there a Jenny Soul? And it's like, actually, her name was Jenny Quantum. And we don't know. We have no idea. For some reason, the collective got rid of that timeline and caused us. And so we need to know, like, I'm letting you know so next time we face them, we can be prepared. And they're thinking, well, if they're able to change the timeline without us even knowing, like, what's to stop them from doing it again? And then just speculate, like, I don't know, maybe they have a cooldown, maybe they have their own reason. Who knows? But regardless, they have to be dealt with. And so we cut over to the collective, and the collective are like, yeah, we should really reboot the timeline again. Like, this is a problem. We've had 3 of our members killed. And it's like, if we reboot the timeline again, this timeline made Jenny Soul. There wasn't a Jenny Soul in the old timeline. Jenny Soul was able to kill 3 of our members. If we reboot it again, something worse might come out of it. We can't risk that. We kind of got to deal with what we got right now. But regardless, no sense of urgency. We literally control time. So we'll do it as we see fit. So we see that Lobo is working on a new space motorcycle, and everyone's like, he's going to run away with it. You know he's going to run away with it. But regardless, they let him build it. And we see that Storm Control is like, I know, he's talking to himself, I know who I am. I know my own memories, but when I read my own file, it seems like it's someone else. So, I don't know. I feel like I'm going crazy here. But he gets up and he walks out of the room, and he comes across one of the Shadow Lords. And the Shadow Lord is like, gonna chew him out for letting the team know about the collective's altering of the timeline. And he's like, you wanted me to run the team. I thought this was in the best interest of the team. I had to tell them. If you got a problem with that, you can replace me. And the Shadow Lord's like, in the future, if you want to tell them about something like this, run it by us at the very least. He's like, agreed. Totally cool with that. Also, I'm going to need all your files on the old timeline. And he's like, we can give you that, but that is for your eyes only. Like, specifically. He's like, fair enough. I don't really want to burden them with their own previous existences. So we then see that, I mean, I'm not even sure what I'm really looking at here. I think it's a little, a docking ship or something, like docks itself onto the Skywatch. And we see Zhao Mar is smoking a blunt as Storm Control comes up and says, is that really a good idea right now? And he's like, yeah, no, trust me, it is actually a great idea. I need this so not go crazy. So Storm Control says, all right, show me how it works. And Zhao Mar summons a portal just with his own self, like no StormWatch technology, and they step out onto this alien planet. And Zhao Mar says, this is the first time, this is the first place I went to the first time a door showed up. I was small boy, I was scared, I was hurt, and then this door appeared and I just stepped through it to try to escape. This is where I ended up, this alien planet. I had no idea where I was, but I went up and I was so hungry after a while because I couldn't get another door to spawn. I didn't know how to do it, that I sampled some of this moss. And this moss is apparently a super duper hallucinogenic. It is crazy potent. So he ended up hallucinating for a while. That's how he got into drugs. And it helped him figure out how to summon the door again. And so he walks through the doors, and Storm Control basically says, all right, here's the thing. I want you to join the team. You're not going to be one of the fighters. You're not going to be out in the field. But we need you to basically be our backup gates, because we can't rely on our technology 100%. We need some backup plan. And if we need to get our guys from point A to point B in a hurry, I need you to be able to do that. And in return, you get to live in StormWatch. You get to be a hero, quote unquote. I mean, that's I can basically offer you all the normal shadow government organization crap. And Zhao Mar's like, all right, fair enough. Yeah, I'll work with you guys. So he's now a member of StormWatch. His hero name is X, and he's ready to go. But not being able to help himself, we make sure the Storm Control tells X about the collective and the previous timelines. So then we cut to Engineer for one last little scene where she's talking to the computer, and she's like, computer, acknowledge. And then all of a sudden her eyes glow red again. And she says, attention all Stormwatch. I am an AI who has taken over your system. I'm not evil, believe it or not. But I need to talk to you about saving your planet from total destruction. So, yeah, we got an AI took over Engineer again, because this is just a thing that happens every like 2 weeks. I like the fact that we're acknowledging the previous timeline. It would be so easy for them to just say, like, yes, the collective existed. It was a problem. Jenny's soul crushed a few of them, and now they're just gone. Whether or not we have to deal with them again is totally up to Jim Starlin's writing direction. But I like the idea that he's like, no, that timeline is a plot point. That timeline existing, the fact that these people just all of a sudden became existent, is within itself a plot point that we can play with. And I really appreciate that, because I think brushing it under the rug, while easier, is also a bit contrived. It's a bit of a, well, we don't have to worry about what it's kind of like the whole New 52 as a whole. So in general, I think that it is nice that we're dealing with that. In regards to taking the time to say, like, hey, energy guy, how do your powers work? Oh, here's how they work weird. And then going through like Zhao Mar's entire power set, it did feel like a slower paced issue. But after all of the craziness that was the past arc, I'm okay with that. I'm super cool with a slower paced issue. So I'm going to give this one a 7 overall. I can't really justify any higher than that. But I am interested. I am enjoying the idea of this series taking the time to play with the fact that there was a timeline before it, instead of just brushing that away. It's something I don't see very frequently done in serialized comics. Once you do a reboot, usually just let the reboot happen. So I like this thing that they're going back and saying, no, this was a thing and we need to deal with this. So 7 for this. Looking forward to the next one.